Hey folks, it's Rachel Gingell. Today I'm going to do an oil change on this Ford 800 tractor. So you can follow along and I'll show you all the steps in the process. As you can imagine, the first thing you need to do is drain your old engine oil. So go ahead and look in the bottom of your oil pan and use a big crescent wrench like I have so that it's adjustable. This is a square-headed plug so a socket won't work. They're normally pretty tight. I've got it loose here. Let me give it one more turn and I'm hoping I can turn it the rest of the way by hand so that I'm gentle with it. Here we go. It's just hard to get a good grip on it, but here we go. Okay, I think I have it loose enough it'll come the rest of the way by hand. Here it comes. Make sure you have a pan that's big enough. It's going to have 5 quarts of oil in here, so make sure you got a big enough pan to catch it. And wear gloves like I am too. This drain plug should have a screen on the end of it, so if you see a screen on yours, don't be alarmed. Yours would be working properly and mine's just broken off. There is a gasket on the bottom of this plug, and I can see that my gasket came with it there, so that's good. If you don't see your old gasket, go ahead and look for it. Make sure that you get it off the bottom of your belly there. The next step is to remove your old oil filter. Now you might have a different style. This is what we call a canister style filter. This will be found on Jubilee tractors, early 600s, early 800s, but most of the later series tractors have been switched over to a spin-on oil filter style. No matter what style you have on your tractor currently, you need to take off your old filter. If you're working on a canister style like this, there's a really long bolt that's got, first it has long threads and then it's a long hollow bolt that goes all the way through this canister. And that's what I'm trying to take off. And that'll free up this holder as well as the filter that's inside. I will show you how to replace this canister with a spin-on style oil filter too on this video in case you want to upgrade if you have this canister style. Man, I got to be getting close. I know this is a long threads. Now I'm working on a Ford 800, but like I said, these techniques do apply to Jubilee 600, 800, 700, and 900 series tractors, also the NAA. So inside here you'll see the canister, and this will just drop out like so. There you go. That's your old oil filter, which you can just discard. And then you also want to clean up all of this cavity here, make sure that it's very thoroughly clean before you put a new canister on. You can go ahead and remove this long bolt through the center, and it's hollow and it's tight, so you got to work with it carefully, but the reason why you're taking it off is because there's a paper gasket here on the end. So you take off your old paper gasket, and when you purchase the new filter, this paper gasket comes with it when you purchase the gasket or the filter from us. So you slide that on the top just like that, and then you can drop this back through like so. Just trying to work gently with it and drive it all the way through. There we go. Next, you reuse this spring. This, oops, let me grab it. This flat side comes out. This is going to push against the gasket to keep it pushed up against the block of the tractor. So you just drop that on there and drive it all the way down. And then you get 2 little O-rings like this with your filter purchase. One goes on the top of the filter and the other goes on the bottom of the filter. So you slide this down your bolt as well. Then your canister filter goes in, and then the O-ring here. Next, on the tractor, you can see that there's this large O-ring that stays on the block most of the time. Sometimes it falls off. You want to remove that and put your new one on. Again, this new large ring does come with the filter purchase. Sometimes it can be hard for these to stay put. So if you set it up there and it doesn't rest in place, you can put a little bit of grease on there to hold it in place. Sometimes they'll stay, sometimes they don't want to. So mine doesn't want to. I'm gonna put some grease on it, and then you just slide this assembly back on, tighten it up. When you do tighten it up, make sure that you do not over tighten this bolt. It's hollow, it's easy to snap it off, so get it tight, but also be gentle of it. Make sure you're not over tightening it. That's it for the canister. Next, I'm going to go ahead and actually put a spin-on oil filter on my tractor. I prefer that style, so I'll show you how to do the conversion if you need to. If you're going to convert to a spin-on oil filter, the first step is to remove this nut or adapter, bushing. I think it could be called all of those terms. We're all referring to the same thing. You need 1 1/4 inch socket in order to take that off. It will be fairly tight. There we go. I got it loose. I am being very careful that I have my socket fully over the head. It's a really short shoulder, and I don't want to strip it off, then I'd be in trouble. So just be careful when you do the same, and then you can pull it all the way out of there. I think I have it loose enough. It'll come the rest of the way with my hands, and that's the piece right there that you need to pull out. I put some carb cleaner on a rag, and rubbed it around the surface here where this new gasket is going to go. You can do the same. Don't spray the carb cleaner directly in there because you don't want the carb cleaner to seep through these holes. So just put it on your rag, make sure that it's clean, and then you can put your new gasket on. The reason why you want that to be clean is so that you don't have a leak there. So now I have some grease on my finger. I'm just rubbing it around there, just a little bit. I'm not greasing this whole thing up. I'm just putting a little bit enough on there so that the gasket's going to stay in place and it's not going to move on me. Making sure that it's completely in the groove, just tracing it around. Again, getting this in the right position is going to be how we avoid a leak on this new filter. Okay, so that's ready. Now I'm going to put my adapter plate in. This adapter plate is directional. See this slit here? This slit is going to go up towards the top, and then you're going to insert it right against the block, just like that, and here's where my slit is. Next, you have your nut. This wider end goes towards the block. The smaller end is going to come out towards the filter. This is a very gentle start. Make sure that you do not get your threads cross-threaded. Then once you have it started, just like that, spin it as much as you can by hand, and then tighten it up with that same 1 1/4" socket that you had earlier to tighten up or to remove that old adapter. My new filter comes with this seal installed. I took a little tiny bit of oil and rubbed it around the surface here just so it doesn't slide on there dry. And then once you have that, it's ready to just screw right on, or spin on is the right term, to the block of the tractor. As you tighten this up, you want to go until it's snug or tight, and then spin it 3/4 of a turn past that, and you do all that spinning by hand. The next step in the process is to clean your oil bath air cleaner. You should do that every time you change the oil. So there's just 2 snaps here. I'm being extremely careful on this side because this metal is right next to the solenoid and I don't want to have any accidental arcing. So you be careful too. Once you have both of those clips loosened up, this will just drop down the bottom. I'm being very careful because it's full of oil. I'll show you as much as I can that this is really muddy. I'm just going to let this down. I'm going to dump it out into my pan down here. Look how much sludge is in the bottom there. It's really, really bad. I'm going to use some carb cleaner and clean this up really well before we reinsert it onto the tractor. After you have it clean, you need to refill this with oil. If you read right here, it says oil level, and there's a line here. That's the point that we're going to fill up to with the same oil that we're putting into the engine of the tractor in just a little bit. I'm going to fill this up until we reach that point. There is a screen, kind of like a pre-cleaner up in your oil bath cleaner, and you want to just leave that alone. Don't try to take it out and put it back in. Just leave it there. Okay, I have it filled up to the oil level right there. So now I'm going to carefully bring it over here, slide it under there, try not to spill any of my oil, slide it up in there, and then reattach it with both of these clips. If you are concerned about touching these clips to your solenoid, you can just take off the ground battery cable on your battery, and that will avoid accidents there. The next step is to put your plug back in. If you reuse your old plug, just make sure you put a new gasket on, or if you discover that yours is damaged and you want to replace it like I am, you can do so as well. This is where you'll add your new engine oil. I am choosing to use 15 weight 40 oil in my tractor. I'm choosing a really high quality oil, and you could do the same. In my experience, tractors don't get oil changes as often as they need to. And it's been very apparent to me as I'm working on this that it's been long overdue on this tractor. So I want to try to treat the engine right and extend its life by using good engine oil, and that's what I'm going to use in the tractor today. Your manual will suggest a different oil. You might read your manual and you'll say, Rachel, my manual says to use 30 weight oil. But that manual was written back in the 1950s, and technology for oil has changed since then. This 15 weight 40 is very widely accepted for antique tractors and will be an excellent choice for your engine. I'm going to put 5 quarts of engine oil into my tractor here. This is only 4, so I have another container for the 5 quarts. Once I have that all poured in, then I need to put a cap back on, an oil filler cap. We sell a brand new oil filler cap that has the breather element already in it that's ready to just drop onto the tractor. If you need to replace yours, that's an excellent choice for you. This is very affordable. However, mine is in good shape, and honestly, I like the patina that matches the block, so I am just going to put a new breather element inside. It's really easy to do. There should be just a wing nut on the top, which you take off, and it'll take off this cap. Like, oh boy, wow. Like I said, it's been a while, this has been neglected. I'm gonna pull this off. I'm cleaning this up before I put a new breather element in there, but you get the idea. You take this off, put the new breather element on, put that cap and the wing nut back on, and then drop it into place once you've added your engine oil. With the tractor in neutral, I'm gonna start this up. There we go. I'm looking closely. I wanna make sure that there's no leaks on the filter. I'm also checking the dash. I have really good oil pressure. Those are the two main things that you want to check after an oil change. Make sure that there's no leaks here, you have good oil pressure, and then once the engine's hot, you can double check your oil level on the dipstick that's over on the other side of the engine. All the instructions for changing both a canister filter and switching over to the spin-on style oil filter are found in this manual. This is my very trusted copy. We sell this new and it is a fantastic manual. We reference it time and time again. Here's the instructions that pertain to the engine oil filter. So if you think written instructions would help you, go ahead and order this manual. As you can see, it's a thick book. It doesn't only cover changing the engine oil, it covers a lot more. One of my most referenced pages is back here. You can see I have the corner turned over because this is the flow chart for the hydraulics. Anytime I have a hydraulic problem, I go back to this flow chart. Just covers all sorts of topics and would be a great resource if you are intending to own one of these 100 series Ford tractors for the long haul. This will be extremely valuable to you. That manual, as well as the parts I've shown on this tractor on this video, are available on my website, which is farmtractorrepair.com. We've tested these parts and know that they are of utmost quality and will be really suitable for your tractor. You should change your engine oil probably about every 200 hours. However, if you are using high quality engine oil like I have in mine, you could probably stretch that out to 300 hours comfortably. Or if your tractor doesn't get that much use, go ahead and just change it once a year. In the spring is a good time to go ahead and do that oil change. I hope that this tutorial is helpful to you and now you are ready to do an oil change on your own tractor. We have other tutorials on this tractor that pertain to the hydraulics, the engine rebuild, the carburetor, ignition, etc. So go ahead and look through our channel for those topics if those will be beneficial to you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.